folks. Welcome to College Football Time with Avery Miguel. This is Week 14 preview. And Avery, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, my Thanksgiving was wonderful. I did have to work, but still, a great day to celebrate with even your coworkers when you need to still pay bills.
Yeah, we gotta be thankful every day. Thanksgiving is just one
Absolutely.
day, but we gotta be thankful every day. We eat every day. We chat every day. We do things that we do every day. So that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful every single day that we're still breathing, that we're able to do what we love to do, that we have family, we have friends. The simple basic thing in life we gotta be grateful for. So
Absolutely.
obey
Absolutely.
and obeying God as always and leave all the consequences to him.
Amen.
Yes. So the first one, Avery, number one Ohio State versus number 15 Michigan. Sorry. This is their 121 edition since 1897. Classic rivalry. Michigan has won four in a row. Can they make it five in a row? We shall see, but it won't be easy because Ohio State, they're legit. They are the number one in scoring, total, and pass defense, and number two in rush defense. I feel that the run game, when these two teams face, it always comes down who's going to win the run game. So that's been the result in the last 23 meetings. Michigan's offense, they're 223 rush yards per game this season, which is fourth in power forward. So it's a big high noon game. So we shall see if Ohio State finally can snap the losing streak.
Yeah, absolutely. However, if it's a day for Michigan to be Michigan, this is the day. Michigan has, kind of been just being middle of the road, staying in, the top 25, the entire season except for maybe about 2 weeks. If this is a time for Michigan to pull off an upset, it's this game. It's this game. And I think Michigan would try to play spoiler as best they can because I had this conversation with a friend of mine. Looking at Ohio State's schedule this year, aside from maybe two teams, their schedule was pretty lax, in my opinion. Now, that's not to say that they didn't play some very competitive teams, which they did. But I think Michigan can really be their true test because if they just spank Michigan, then Ohio State is absolutely legit. However, if they struggle with Michigan, especially against the run, we may be seeing some cracks in this Ohio State Buckeye team that could be relevant going into the playoff or necessarily going into the Big Ten championship if that is so the case. So they're also playing at the Big House. One of, probably iconic places to watch a college football game. We're talking 130,000 people, to see the Michigan Wolverines try and just put a crack in the armor of Ohio State. Um, I am going to go with Ohio State on this one, but just by a small margin. And I'm going to say this is going to be a high scoring game because I think Michigan would like to knock off Ohio State. I think Ohio State still wants to prove any naysayers that, for the entire year they've been number one and they still want to be number one and they've earned it. So I'm going to go Ohio State 35, Michigan 33.
I'm gonna go Ohio State 27, Michigan 23. So it's always a battle between these two teams. So I'm looking forward to that. Next up, Avery, number three, Texas A&M versus number 16, Texas. Marcel Reed, you know, he has 31 total touchdowns this year, nine turnovers. Texas this year, they have struggled in terms of protecting their quarterback. So that'll be something to look out for. And the Aggies defense, they're elite. I love their pass rush. 39 sacks this season, which is second in FBS. I have Texas A&M winning this one, um, 23 to 17.
Yeah, that's a close score again. With this week being rivalry week, some of these rivalry games have some weight to them. Just like Ohio State, Michigan, this is another game where the rivalry is there, but believe it or not, it can outshine. Same thing. If Texas wants to kind of turn their season around a bit. And here's another game that, could have some implications. But I think Texas A&M is absolutely legit. I think their season this year has been stellar. Their defense, absolutely stellar. Even though they are playing on the road, I think Texas A&M is going to be in control the entire game. However, if Texas can protect Manning, then I could see them taking control, but I think the Aggies will kind of grab that control back. I'm gonna go with the Aggies on this one, but again, a close game because I think Texas would want to be the one to knock off the Aggies. So, but I'm gonna go with Texas A&M on this one. I'm gonna keep it close as well. I'm gonna go Texas A&M 24, Texas 21.
Number six, Oregon Ducks. They take on Pacific Northwest rival Washington in Seattle. Washington this year, they have struggled against good defensive teams. We've seen it about three teams of them, and Oregon is that fourth team on their schedule that they're good defensively. Oregon's defense, they held the USC Trojans to just 52 rush yards last week. All right, and that's the second fewest by a team led by Lincoln Riley. So given that, I'm gonna go with Oregon on this one. Um, 30-20.
Yeah, I think that's a good score. I think Oregon, I think from their Indiana loss, I think they've been very focused. Again, another great rivalry of two teams where not a lot of distance, but each team is going to travel to support their team. But I think Oregon is just going to be locked in for this one, and their game against the Trojans, I think that was just a masterclass. So, kind of look for their defense to kind of do the same thing and just shut down the Huskies, especially if they're working in some momentum. So, I'm going to go with Oregon as well. I'm going to go Oregon 30, um, Washington 17.
Number four, Georgia versus number 23, Georgia Tech in Atlanta, ATL. Shout out to ATL. I was speaking of Atlanta. I have plans of going there for the first time next month, December 7th, but that's gonna be put on hold for now. I'm a person that I gotta be careful with financial situations. I can't go all crazy willy-nilly, but it will happen someday. Go to Atlanta. It's always been on my bucket list. So yeah, well, when I found out about this game, I thought about, man, that trip was supposed to happen these next couple of weeks, but there's certain situations I gotta figure out first. And yes, I'm still gonna be shooting that series. I'm still in process of that, but hopefully I can grab Atlanta venue, sporting and venue for season one or even season two. But anyways, Georgia Tech's defense, Avery, they've been struggling lately. They haven't been that good. They have lost two of their last three games. Georgia Bulldogs, they have a good defense, but you have seen some cracks on their defense this year as well. But with that being said, I'm gonna go with Georgia on this one. I can never disrespect this Bulldogs team, especially when it's led by Kirby Smart. So I'm gonna go with Georgia on this one. I think it's a high scoring game. 39-36.
I think it's going to be a high scoring game too, but I think if you remember last year's game between these two teams, everybody kind of wrote Georgia Tech off, and Georgia Tech just gave it to the Bulldogs down to the wire. I believe it was four overtimes last year, and I think that's still in the back of Georgia Tech's mind that they had them. They had them. And I think the loss last week to Pitt,
I was gonna
I
say
think,
that.
yes, I think that lost last week, I think they're like, hey, we're playing the Bulldogs. Again, if another team just wants to just stick a knife in a team and say, "Hey, you could have won, but surprise, you didn't think about us." So I'm gonna go with the upset on this one. I'm gonna go with the upset on this one. I have a lot of love for Atlanta too. Growing up, my mom and I we road trip to Atlanta. As you know, I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. Tried and true. That was the closest team we had before the Rays and Marlins came down to Florida. Um, Believe it or not, the Georgia Tech campus is not that far from downtown. So it blends in very well with the city if you get a chance to go. But I think Georgia Tech has a bit of a chip on their shoulder. They were playing really good football. I think those two losses, kind of mess with their rhythm a bit because they had some momentum going. And I think again, if there is a team that can shut down a rivalry of this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Georgia Tech. And I'm going to give it so close. And this is my overtime, call again. I am going to give it to Georgia Tech. I think it is going to be a high scoring game. And I'm going to go Georgia Tech 42, Georgia 40.
Okay, we're down to the last two, Miami versus Pitt. We said, a couple of days ago, this is a big game for both teams, especially from Miami, who have they started the season red hot. But in order for them to have a chance to win the ACC, I feel that they had to beat Pitt decisively. I fear that they're not going to win decisively. Given what Pitt did to Georgia Tech, Miami can't take them lightly. As much as I want Miami to win decisively, I'm still gonna pick them to win this game, by at least 5 points. So I give them 32 to 27.
Yeah, Miami absolutely needs to beat Pitt. They need a little more help in the ACC ranking. Beating Pitt will help them, an SMU loss would help them. Believe it or not, a Georgia Tech loss would help them, but you know, it is what it is in the standings. I agree with you. I'm gonna go with Miami on this one, but a decisive win would help them. But I agree with you. I think Miami's going to win maybe by a 3 to 7 point margin. Um, Pitt's win against Georgia Tech is kind of like what Miami needs this week. But I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to be kind of sluggish out the gate. If they already know what they need to do, I think that's going to be in the back of their mind instead of just focusing on the game. They're still in a great position, for the playoff, in my opinion. So I think as long as they don't make any mistakes or force any mistakes, I think they can still pull off this win, and they are playing on the road. So I think Miami's going to get it done, but like you, I don't think it's going to be decisive. Now, if it is decisive, it gives them really great momentum going forward. So I am going to go with Miami on this one. I'm going to go Miami 24, Pitt 17.
Last but not least, number 10, Alabama, your Alabama, versus Auburn, and they're gonna meet for the 90th edition of the Iron Bowl. So this is I could say a big game for Alabama for both teams, but I feel like more for Alabama. So I have the Crimson Tide winning this one, 35 to 21.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good score. Alabama knows that even though it is the Iron Bowl, again, they need to win decisively. They probably know they have Auburn's number. Auburn has just been up and down this entire season, and Alabama knows this would be a great way to kind of cap off their season. Again, another decisive win. It will help them definitely in the playoff conversation, and it absolutely needs to be decisive, even though they are playing in Auburn. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Alabama on this one as well. I'm gonna go Alabama 35, Auburn 13.
All right. Well, guys, those are our preview, our picks. We're looking forward to rivalry weekend. It shall be fun. Salute to Navy, midshipmen. They won yesterday. As you can see, Avery's representing Navy. Anything you want to say about Navy at this moment, Avery?
Actually, they beat Memphis in a very, very close game last night, and I think that can catapult them very well. Um, in their conference title shot as well as a really great bowl game. Also with rivalry weekend being what it is, another couple games to look out for: Arizona State, which is Friday night.
Yep.
Also we also have Ole Miss against Mississippi State. Be kind of on the lookout for Mississippi State. Again, you have these teams, especially during rivalry week, they would love to put a fork in some of these teams just to kind of, mess with everything. But this weekend, it's still going into the holiday weekend. We spent time with family yesterday. Anyone doing any shopping or traveling today for Black Friday. Everyone, please be safe. But today is a really good day if you still have time to spend with family. You can spend time with family watching college football, watching hockey. Today is a really good sports day, if you can believe it. And as a sports fan, even though my day will actually be at work later, I think today is just another day to spend time either reflecting for everything you can be thankful for, but also you can spend time with others and be thankful that you have that camaraderie and love to express with those you care about.
I agree. So, guys, continue enjoying your Thanksgiving weekend. And we'll be back here most likely Monday to give our recap, our reaction to the games. It's Friday morning, but I'm gonna put this out probably by 12 or 1 p.m. today because we have games on today, Friday, as Avery mentioned. Arizona versus Arizona State. I'm definitely looking forward to that. My Sun Devils, they got to take care of business. But yeah, hopefully you guys be safe out there, and may God bless each and every one of you. Keep supporting college football time with Harry Miguel. Take care.